This is episode 108 of The Place of Sound, and I'm your host, Charlie. For those who are listening for the first time, The Place of Sound is a show that explores the relationship between place and sound, focusing on how sound shapes the places we call home. Each episode features audio-based work created by students here at Carleton University. It's finally the end of a long winter semester. No more assignments, no more exams, at least for the next few months. I'm planning to use my summer break to rest and to keep developing creative projects. Speaking of creative projects, I recently finished working on a short dance film exploring what happens when connection isn't present. I've been thinking a lot about connection lately, how it forms and how it fades. Maybe it's because most of my friends are from out of town and have now returned to their homes for the summer. I found myself wondering what I would do on my own over the next few months, and in a way, today's episode gave me a few ideas. Today, we'll be listening to Liam Horner, Julia Rhymes, and Hannah Lalonde's production of 613 Sounds, where they sit down with different local artists or bands to explore the music scene in Ottawa. In this particular episode, they sit with DazeyLanes to talk about the electronic dance music scene here in the city. Liam, Julia, and Hannah are students at Carleton University. Their podcast was produced in the context of Dr. Steffi McKnight's MPAD 4000 Capstone course, which is a fourth-year level course in the Media Production and Design program. For those who may not know, a capstone project is an independent assignment that students can choose to complete in their final year instead of writing a thesis. The group was tasked with curating a multimedia piece that conveyed a strong story relating to community engagement of their choice. Since they had a strong passion for both podcasts and music, they decided to shed light on underground spots that people may not know to look out for. What stood out to me is how music scenes like this create connection in a different way. It's not always about knowing people personally. It can be about sharing a rhythm, a space, or even just a moment. Just like this is my first episode hosting the show, the episode you're about to hear is also their very first. Let's have a listen.
Hello, and welcome to the first episode of 613 Sounds, an independent capstone project from Carleton University's Media Production and Design program.
I'm your host, Liam.
I'm your co-host, Julia.
And I'm your producer, Hannah.
This is a 5-part podcast series to highlight the different music scenes in Ottawa, exploring how these scenes are strong methods for community building as they harbor face-to-face connections with like-minded youth while also supporting third spaces around the city.
All right, so each episode is going to focus on a specific genre, and we're going to interview one artist or band from these scenes to get insiders' perspectives on how these communities operate in the city. And in this episode, we're focusing on electronic dance music, also known as EDM.
While lots of people in Ottawa may be unaware, the EDM scene has been growing rapidly in the city through downtown clubs, outdoor events, and the EDM-dedicated festival Escapade. And to learn more about the scene, Liam and Julia sat down with DazeyLanes, one of MPAD's very own students. DazeyLanes is also a local DJ who is very involved within the community and is slated to perform at Escapade this summer. So stay tuned to learn more about EDM in Ottawa.
I'm just grateful to be a part of the scene and to be in the position I am. It's so cool that I'm able to promote events and people want to come and people have a great time, and I'm able to build this sense of community through people being an artist here. And yeah, I think it's just beautiful to do that.
So Simon, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, no problem. I'm so happy to be here. And, the rave scene, I think it deserves more light. So I'm happy I could have this opportunity to express, the rave scene to the community.
So can you start by telling the people at home a little bit about you and your sound?
Yes. So I started DJing and producing about 10 years ago. I grew up in Oakville, Ontario. There wasn't really a music scene there, but I was very passionate about EDM. I listened to it throughout my whole life since grade 2. And I remember sitting down with my friends and we asked each other what we want to be in the future. And then I was obsessed with EDM. So I was like, I want to be a DJ. Like, I want to make people happy with music and stuff like that. So I just stuck to it, and I've done everything from like my grade 8 grad dance to festivals now. So yeah, it's been quite the ride.
Yeah, so this has been sort of like a very long-standing thing. So you've been doing this for over a decade. So in that time, how has your style sort of evolved? And when did it transform from just a hobby you were starting out as into something that you wanted to pursue as like a professional performer?
Yeah, totally. So my style evolved. In the early days, I was really into house music. I just liked that groove that got me going, but as it progressed, kind of as I learned more about producing, I also learned more about EDM itself. So I started exploring new genres like UK garage, bass music, things like dubstep, and just like trying to get a taste of it all so that I can kind of see where I want to navigate within it. And I just like the more technical it got, the more interested I got into it. So nowadays I'd say I'm more into like unique kind of beats, things that you won't necessarily hear, but I'm a big fan of like what you never knew you wanted to hear, if that makes sense, like just new things that intrigue you, that's the kind of stuff I'm into. So yeah.
Sick.
That's a really cool way to put it.
Yeah, awesome. So sort of like in general, how would you describe the EDM community just worldwide to outsiders or newcomers who may be unfamiliar?
Yeah, totally. I'd say EDM is one of the most welcoming communities on this planet. There's a mantra that all EDM ravers go by, and it's PLUR, which stands for peace, love, unity, and respect. Awesome. Yeah, so I think it's a really beautiful scene, and it's all kind of just pushing towards this notion of, having a great time, helping each other out, making sure nobody gets hurt, and just like experiencing life in general to the max and just having fun and being with your friends and creating special memories. So I think that's the most important part about the scene. Yeah.
I love it. The scene of peace. To focus in a bit on our own community, seeing that you're from the GTA, how would you say that the Ottawa EDM scene compares to Toronto's?
Okay. Yeah, this is a big one. So Toronto, it's got, I don't know, it's got a lot more structure to it, but I find that the community isn't as welcoming as, you kind of got to know who's doing what and, shake the right hands to end up in the right positions in Toronto. And that can be very limiting for artists as, a lot of people maybe don't have that drive to go out and, put their face everywhere. But here in Ottawa, I found that it's just super welcoming. Like, I know DJs who started like a week ago and then the next week they're playing already in clubs in Ottawa. In my experience, I started from DJing in forests here and then now playing at festivals here. So it's just been great, and the people are so welcoming, and we all just want to see each other win here. And we know we're a small community, and that's exactly why we try to help each other out as much as we can so that we can put Ottawa on the map.
It is obviously like a pretty small community. We're a small city. It can be a stereotype that we're sort of a boring city, but have you seen in your time since you've been in Ottawa, have you seen the local community like evolve and grow?
100%. Yeah. I always say if you think Ottawa's boring, you're just not going out of your way enough to find things to do, because there's so much going on here and you just got to put yourself out there and get in these communities. But yeah, like I said, like in the beginning, we were just throwing raves in forests, trying to get people out. It was like post-COVID, everything kind of like reset. So we got people out in forests, and then throughout that, we kind of brought the people from the forest to this club called City at Night. And that's where a lot of really great parties happen. And we had international artists fly in to play there, sold out shows like left and right. And then now, with all that support towards City at Night, there's been a new club that opened called Gridworks. And that's really expanded, the scale that we can have these EDM events, because now we have more capacity, we have bigger sound, more production. So it's been really cool to see the progress from, these DIY forest raves into these, full production shows and international headliners and stuff like that. So I think it's really cool and yeah, definitely not boring,
I think a lot of young adults, people our age, our generation, are always looking for things to do, places to go, especially post-COVID. So it's really great that you're building this kind of community here in Ottawa and you're proving that it's not boring. And that's what 613 Sounds is all about as well. We want to show the people that there's things to do, there's people to support.
Yeah. So when you're preparing for a show, how much of your set do you have planned ahead of time? And how much do you just go with the flow, sort of improvise? And how much of an influence does the venue you're playing in have on this decision?
Okay, that's a great question. So it really depends on the type of show. A club night at Gridworks on a Saturday, I usually tend to freestyle. But this comes from, having knowledge on how to work a crowd and all those kinds of things, just being aware of what's in my library and things like that. But preparing for shows, it usually matters on the context of the show. Is it a dubstep show? Is it a UK garage show? Are we trying to just get people in the door, So for a show that we just want to get people in the door, I'd play remixes and things that, people would be familiar with, but also add a little spice in there, Right. But for big festivals, I tend to plan from the beginning to the end, but I don't pre-record anything. I just plan out all the transitions and you can only plan so much, but when you're up there live, mistakes are bound to happen. Things are, bound to change. So kind of have to adjust to that. And so in that sense, it's kind of a bit of a freestyle, but majority of the sets are planned at that scale. Yeah.
So you were talking a little bit earlier, you were talking about Gridworks, which is a new local EDM venue. So for the people, since it's new, for the people who may not be familiar yet, do you want to explain what the venue is and its significance within the community?
As I mentioned, City at Night opened up this new club called Gridworks, and it's very significant in the community because we always wanted a bigger space, and the biggest thing is just more attendance availability. In the previous venue, we only had I think 150 cap, and then now we have something 350 or 450. So not only does this bring more people in, but it brings more money to the scene, which allows us to, expand on our productions and bring in better artists, which in turn can bring in more people and overall just expand the scene. But Gridworks, it's the hub of the EDM scene. When I go there, I see at least 20 of my friends, and half the time I'm just talking with friends, catching up while this cool music's playing in the back, and you go outside and you run into 3 people that and all of a sudden you're making new friends and things like that. So I think it's really the hub for the community. It's the one space in the city where we can all come together, enjoy the same music, talk about things we relate to, and just find like-minded people that we can conversate with.
Awesome. They do a lot of theme nights there too, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah. They do a lot of theme nights. They have a concept Thursday night, which is they try to do more mainstream oriented music, and then on the weekends it's usually they have different events for Fridays. Fridays they have Intersection, which is dubstep, or they have Solstice, which is house music, and then they have Off-Grid Saturdays, which is it's mostly to introduce new people into the EDM scene. So it's usually upbeat music like house, techno, UK garage, just to get people into the scene. But we have all kinds of different events there, and we have even people from Montreal coming to host their events in Gridworks. So it really just expands the horizons for the EDM scene.
Where is it located so we know where to find you?
All right, so Gridworks is it's located at 221 Rideau Street in Ottawa. It's near the Byward Market and
heart of the city.
Yeah.
So in terms of like your own contributions, you often bring your own equipment, such as like speakers, lights, and TVs, not only to your own shows, but to like other people's shows as well. So do you want to explain why you want to help others this way and how you think it elevates their performance?
In the speaker sense, here in Ottawa, there's a group called the Subrooted Sound System, and the Subrooted Sound System, they're a group of individuals who decided to build their own speaker, which is absolutely crazy in my opinion. So I've thrown one event with them in the past, and I've DJ'd about 2 or 3 with them in the past, and I think it's just another contribution to the EDM scene. You know, these people built this insane speaker rig, and we've never had sound system culture in Ottawa, so now that we have it here, with my platform, I just want to try and, put them on and make people aware of sound system culture in general, because it's just unheard of in Canada, and especially in Ontario. So I think that's super cool. And regarding my TVs and my production and supporting other artists, I believe that, all of us should have access to this kind of production and to be able to express ourselves in that manner. That's like the whole reason I got these TVs. Like, LED walls are way too expensive, but we still want visuals and to like give people that opportunity to express themselves visually as an artist. So being able to provide my TVs and help out with other productions is something I'm really fond of, and I think it just gives other artists the opportunities to expand past just the audio and the energy in the room, and bring a new light to the production and the visual side of their expression as an artist.
Mm-hmm. Where did you find these TVs? How did you start collecting them? What inspired you to do that?
Yeah, so I'm a big Pinterest head, so I was scrolling through Pinterest, and I try to like gather ideas for raves and things like that, and I was coming across like these TV walls from the past, and in the 90s and 80s there was a lot of music videos with these big TV walls and things like that. So I was kind of like sad that was gone. I'm like, oh, like this is like pretty doable. Like I don't see why this can be a problem, So I went on Facebook Marketplace, and it was mostly, grandmas and things like that. But they were kind enough to give a lot of the TVs for free, as they're just sitting in basements, not being used. So since I got them for free, I really don't mind if they get dirty, if they get messed up and things like that. I just want people to feel free in the rave. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, get off the TVs. Like, I see people kicking them all the time. I'm like, whatever, as long as it still works, I don't really care.
That's so cool.
Huge contributor to like new people's sets too. It's amazing. So Escapade, to shift a bit to this festival,
Whoa.
It is the biggest event in the EDM scene in Ottawa by quite a significant margin, I'd say. So seeing as you performed there last summer in the after party, and you're slated to perform there officially this year, how has your involvement in this festival shaped your perspective on the local EDM scene?
I mean, I'm super grateful to be on the lineup, and I think it's really cool that a place like Ottawa has this kind of, end goal where, there's a lot of funding into it. There's government funding into Escapade, and I think it's just great that there's this outlet for EDM to have its peak in Ottawa. And yeah, I think it's like, as an artist here, it's been always like the goal, and it's kind of given me something to work towards. So, I would have to work really hard and make the right connections to play the after party. And then at the after party, I prove myself, and, that kind of builds the trust in me as an artist to be able to perform at Escapade. So that process has been really cool to experience and challenging as well. But yeah, it's been a great opportunity to push myself and put myself out there. And I believe any artist in Ottawa can get to that point. It's just, you got to put in the grind. You got to shake the right hands, and honestly, like, the biggest thing has just been being active in the community. If you're active in the community, you will get noticed. You will, progress, and people will notice you and want to put you on lineups and things like that. So yeah, as an artist in Ottawa, as long as you're contributing to the scene, I believe it'll give back to you.
That is unreal. You've performed in front of big crowds before, but would this be bigger than any of the ones you've done?
Yeah, It will be the biggest attendance festival I've ever played. In previous years, I think the biggest I've done is maybe like 1,000 to 3,000 at a time at the stage, but those festivals have about like 8,000 to 10,000 attendance. But I forget the number, but Escapade has a much larger attendance than that. And yeah, I'm just grateful to like be able to go there and hopefully grow from some connections and stuff like that. So
That is so cool. Congrats.
And we'll be there. And you listeners should be there too.
yeah, 100%.
What advice would you give to listeners who, after hearing this interview, may now be interested in getting involved with the scene? Where do you think they should start?
The rave scene is just so welcoming. So if you are looking to get into it, I'd recommend, going to Gridworks, even just like asking DJs that DJ there, like, oh, how did you do this? I'd love to get into this. And all of us are super welcoming. Like I've supported a lot of new coming artists in, getting started with DJing and like what DJ set to get, how to produce, where to start with producing, what software to use. And since we're such a tight-knit community, like all the artists here are really down to help and put new people on, because like we just want to see this grow as much as we can. And even just in the past year, I've seen so many new artists emerge and go from, their first opening set where they're super stressed and, like maybe messing up a little bit, to now like packed venues, making everybody jump. And it's really inspiring to see because, like I remember when I was in that position and like there wasn't always somebody there to like guide you and stuff like that. But now at this point in the scene, I feel like there's enough infrastructure where, people will recognize you. And if you really are passionate, if you really put in the work and respect, the scene, the sound, that will just be, boosted.
I gotta be honest, I didn't think I was into EDM, and then I heard DazeyLanes perform for the first time at a fundraiser event, a nice little quaint fundraiser event, and all of a sudden my mind has changed.
Yeah, I'd say just go out and explore, be open-minded, and I'm sure you'll find your groove within this, find your genre and have a great time.
All right. And do you have any upcoming music or shows you'd like to plug before we go?
Yes, 100%. I have a release coming out on Illicit UK Records. Just keep an eye out for Illicit UK. That's a great one. It's a label by Cali Dubs from the UK. 3 originals that have finished right now, and 2 of them include vocalists from the UK. So I'm very excited to let those go. Yeah, keep an eye out. I'm really excited to release these projects, and going forward, I have some really fun ideas to expand, the DazeyLanes universe. So I'm really looking forward to that.
That sounds so exciting, so insane. Where can we find you on the socials to hear about these releases?
On every platform, I'm just DazeyLanes. So it's DAZEY and then Lanes. And yeah, it's just one word. Luckily, nobody else took that name, so I'm able to make it nice and simple for y'all. So DazeyLanes on all platforms, yeah.
All right, that's it. Thank you for coming on. This is a great interview.
Super great to hear from you.
Thank you guys for doing this. This is awesome. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to this interview with DazeyLanes and the first episode of 613 Sounds. We hope you enjoyed the conversation and learned more about the local EDM scene. And if you're now interested, we definitely encourage you guys to get outside and get involved with this growing community. Stay tuned for the next episode, where we sit down with the local band Kibble to learn more about rock music in Ottawa.
Thanks again to Liam Horner, Julia Rhymes, and Hannah Lalonde for sharing their incredible work with us. If you enjoyed listening to their discussion on Ottawa's EDM with DazeyLanes, make sure to head over to their Instagram, 613.sounds, to find more great episodes featuring other local artists or bands. Listening to their episode, I kept coming back to that idea of connection. Not just the kind that forms from conversation, but the kind that forms through shared experience. And I think that's something I'll be thinking about a lot this summer. Finding those moments, even in small ways, where connection shows up unexpectedly. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more great content from students here at Carleton University, make sure to subscribe to The Place of Sound wherever you get your podcasts. If you have audio-based work you want to hear featured on the show, or if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please reach out to us on Instagram at The Place of Sound or via email at theplaceofsound.social@gmail.com. This has been The Place of Sound. Thank you for listening.